Own your mornings, command your life. Full audiobook. Before the world wakes up, the battle for your life has already begun. Most people lose it before sunrise. They reach for their phone instead of their purpose. They hit snooze instead of hitting their potential. But not you. From this day forward, you forge a morning that bends the rest of your life into shape. Because how you begin determines everything that follows. This is not just a book. This is your new beginning. Own your mornings, and you command your life. Chapter 1. The battle before sunrise, every morning, before the world even wakes up. A silent war begins. You feel it before you open your eyes. That pull between comfort and conviction. The sheets whisper to you, 5 more minutes. The mind whispers, you've earned it. But here's the truth, you haven't earned it. Not yet. Every morning is a battlefield. The alarm clock isn't just a sound, it's a test. The first test of your day, and the way you respond decides everything that follows. You think your day starts when you walk into your job, when you check your phone, or when the sun rises. It doesn't. Your day starts the moment you decide who's in charge, your feelings or your purpose. You don't rise when you wake up, you rise when you decide. That's the battle before sunrise. The average person wakes up reacting, not leading. They wake up to notifications, noise, and chaos. They let the world set their tone before they even set their intention. But high performers, the relentless, the focused, the disciplined, they know something different. They know that control begins in the dark, long before the day begins. They don't need motivation to get out of bed. They have discipline. You see, motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. Motivation depends on how you feel. Discipline depends on who you are. That's the key. When you wake up, your brain searches for comfort. It tells you, stay, rest, wait. And most people obey that voice. They surrender. They lose the war before it even begins. But not you. Not anymore. You are here because you're done losing to yourself. You're done starting the day behind. You're done negotiating with comfort. Because comfort kills potential. Slowly, quietly, without resistance. You have to understand. The first 10 minutes of your morning dictate the quality of your day. You either anchor yourself in focus, or you drown in distraction. You decide. That's why your morning must be non-negotiable. Not optional, not flexible, non-negotiable. Athletes know it. CEOs know it. Elite soldiers know it. Their mornings are not accidents. They are operations. Every move has purpose. Every minute is claimed. They don't check their phones. They don't hit snooze. They don't wait to feel ready. They move. They act. They lead because they know the world belongs to those who command themselves before sunrise. You don't rise when you wake up. You rise when you decide. Now, let's be clear. This is not about waking up early just for the sake of it. It's not about 5 a.m. alarms or copying someone else's schedule. It's about owning the first battle of your day, the battle between who you've been and who you're becoming. Every time you hit snooze, you vote for who you were yesterday. Every time you get up, even when you don't feel like it, you vote for your future self. That's the currency of transformation. Small decisions that build your identity brick by brick. You think your mornings don't matter. Watch your mornings, and you'll predict your future. The one who controls the morning controls the mind. The one who controls the mind controls the, day. And the one who controls the day controls the life. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about discipline. That's the foundation of every success story you admire. So what does winning this battle look like in real life? It starts with structure. Step 1. Eliminate negotiation. Your alarm goes off. You move. No delay, no debate, no 5 more minutes. That delay is death in disguise. You train your mind to obey your command, not your craving. Step 2. Claim silence. Before the noise, before the notifications, be still, think, breathe, reflect. The first voice you should hear is your own. Step 3. Prime your purpose. Don't scroll. Don't drift. Choose an anchor, a mantra, a journal, a workout, a simple ritual that centers your mind and body on what matters. Because every morning, your mind is clay, soft, shapeable, waiting to be molded. If you don't shape it, the world will, and the world doesn't care about your purpose. You do. That's why you rise before the world demands you. You lead yourself before you lead others. You win the inner war before facing the outer one. That's the formula. Simple, powerful, unbreakable. And yes, there will be days when you don't feel like it. Days when your body's heavy, when your mind's cloudy, when everything in you screams, not today. That's when it matters most. Because anyone can move when it's easy. Anyone can win when it's comfortable, but discipline is born in resistance. Character is forged in those 10 minutes of defiance, when you stand up against your lesser self and say, "Not this time. You think you're just getting out of bed?" But what you're really doing is declaring war on mediocrity. You don't rise when you wake up. You rise when you decide. Every morning is a mirror. It shows you exactly who you are, the excuse maker or the executioner. And once you understand that, you'll never see mornings the same way again. So tomorrow morning, when that alarm hits, don't wait. Don't think. Don't scroll. Rise, move, lead. Win the battle before sunrise, because the rest of your day, your productivity, your confidence, your results, they all flow from that moment of decision. You are not tired. You are undisciplined. You are not busy. You are unstructured. You are not stuck. You are waiting for permission that you never needed. You don't need their permission. You just need your decision. That's the difference between another wasted morning and a life that commands momentum. You want to own your life? Own your mornings. Because when you claim the first hour, you claim the next 23. That's the truth. That's the game. That's the battle before sunrise. And every day, the choice is yours. You don't rise when you wake up. You rise when you decide. Transition. You've learned to win the first battle, the war against comfort. Now it's time to master what fuels that victory. Discipline, because without it, every decision crumbles. Chapter 2. Eliminate the first enemy, the snooze button. The battle for your life begins before the sun rises. Not in the boardroom, not in the gym, not in some grand moment of triumph. It begins in the quiet war between your hand and the snooze button. That's the first enemy. The smallest, the sneakiest, and the deadliest. Because that little button, it's not just a piece of plastic, it's a contract. Every time you hit it, you sign your name under one simple statement. I'll deal with my dreams later. You can't snooze your way into greatness. Say that again, out loud if you have to. You can't snooze your way into greatness. The lie of just 5 more minutes. The snooze button feels harmless. You tell yourself it's rest. You tell yourself you earned it. But what it really is resistance disguised as relief. It's the whisper of weakness saying, stay comfortable. You think you're buying more rest, but you're really selling off your momentum. You're teaching your brain that hesitation is acceptable. You're Conditioning yourself to start your day with a lie, because you didn't need more sleep. You needed more discipline. When you hit snooze, your body stays in bed. But your identity drifts backward. You go from being the architect of your day to being a prisoner of your comfort. From a commander to a coward hiding under the blanket of excuses. You can't snooze your way into greatness, and every time you try, you trade a kingdom for a few seconds of comfort. The science of momentum. Let's get real. This isn't just about motivation. It's about neuroscience. When your alarm rings, your brain fires a command. Action. If you obey that command, if you rise immediately, you trigger a cascade of chemicals. Dopamine, cortisol, adrenaline. They tell your body, we're moving. We're alive. Let's go. That's the start of momentum. A micro victory. A single brick in the wall of discipline. But when you hit snooze, you interrupt that signal. You confuse your brain. You literally train your nervous system to associate mornings with hesitation and avoidance. Teach yourself to start every day with resistance instead of readiness. It's not just a bad habit. It's neurological. Sabotage. You're either wiring yourself for power or for passivity. And that wiring starts the second your alarm goes off. That's the key. It's not about sleep. It's about self-respect. You don't need another 8 minutes of rest. You need a reason to rise. The morning you win. You win the day. When you wake up the moment the alarm rings, you send yourself a message louder than any motivational quote. I'm in charge. That's how you start your day, with command, not chaos. You don't need to wait for inspiration. You need to move. Discipline doesn't care about how you feel. It cares about what you do. The morning you conquer that first enemy, the snooze button, you build a foundation for every other. Victory that follows. The workout becomes easier. The focus becomes sharper. The mind becomes calmer. Because when you win the first decision of the day, your entire system aligns with action. That's momentum. That's power. That's how greatness starts. With one defiant motion. Against the pull of comfort, you can't snooze your way into greatness. But you can rise your way into discipline. The ritual of immediate action. Here's how you destroy the snooze habit for good. Step 1. Move the alarm across the room. Make resistance inconvenient. If you have to stand up to silence the alarm, you've already won. Step 2. Anchor your wake-up to a command. The moment you rise, say out loud, I'm up. I move now. Words are triggers. They turn intention into identity. Step 3. Do something small immediately. Brush your teeth. Drink water. Stretch. You don't need to do something big. You just need to move. Motion creates motivation. Step 4. Guard the first 10 minutes like a temple. No phone. No scrolling. No distractions. You're building the neural pattern of focus. Protect it. These are not hacks. They are declarations. Declarations that comfort will not command you. The enemy returns every morning. Here's the truth most people don't want to face. You never defeat the snooze button once and for all. You defeat it every single day, every morning. It waits every morning. It whispers every morning. It tests whether you've kept your word to yourself. That's the real purpose of the alarm. It's not just a reminder to wake up. It's a test of your integrity. Will you do what you said you'd do? Or will you delay it again? Because if you can't conquer 5 more minutes in the morning, what makes you think you'll conquer fear, procrastination, or failure later in the day? The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. If you give in early, you'll give in often. You can't snooze your way into greatness, but you can rise into it, one morning at a time. The choice tomorrow morning. You'll hear it again, that sound, that alarm. That first command of the day, and you'll have a choice. To rise or to retreat, to build or to break momentum, to start the day with a promise or a pause. Choose to rise, choose to act before you think. Choose to build momentum before your excuses wake up, because that's how leaders start their day, not by chasing comfort, but by commanding it. The alarm is not your enemy. The snooze button is. It's the softest form of self-betrayal and the smallest act of rebellion against your potential. So, tomorrow, when it rings, don't hesitate. Move, stand, win. You can't snooze your way into greatness, but you can rise into it. You've now won your first battle, the morning, and when you win your morning, you begin to command your life. Because discipline starts small, and small victories compound into transformation. You've built the first brick. Now it's time to fortify the wall. You've conquered the enemy of hesitation. Next, it's time to master the architect of momentum. Chapter 3. Guard the first hour. Like sacred ground, the first hour after you wake up is the battlefield for your mind. It's the most powerful and the most vulnerable moment of your day. Win it. And the next 16 hours fall in line. Lose it. And chaos takes command before you even begin. If the world owns your first hour, it owns your mind. That's not philosophy. That's biology. Because your first hour sets the tone, the chemistry, and the command system of your brain. And yet most people hand it away before they've even stood up straight. They check their phones. They scroll through other people's lives. They answer messages they don't care about from people who don't care about their purpose. They drown in noise and then wonder why they feel lost before. Breakfast. Let's make this simple. Your first hour is sacred, and sacred things must be protected. The mental chemistry of chaos. The moment you wake up, your brain enters a transition state, the alpha state. It's calm. It's clear. It's ready to absorb direction. Think of it as wet cement. Whatever impression you press into it becomes the foundation for the rest of your day. So if the first thing you do is grab your phone, guess what happens? You're letting the world pour its noise into your fresh mind. You're letting algorithms, ads, and opinions set your emotional tone. You've just surrendered control before you've even brushed your teeth. If the world owns your first hour, it owns your mind, and that's exactly what most people do. They wake up and hand their attention to the digital world like a slave offering his chains. Every notification is a hook. Every headline is an emotional hijack. Every scroll is a withdrawal from your mental bank account. You start your day reacting instead of creating. You live on defense instead of offense. You run from noise instead of moving toward purpose. That's not a life of discipline. That's a life of distraction. The power of sacred ground. Here's the truth. The first hour of your day decides who you are going to be. Not in theory. In chemistry. That hour is where you build your focus, your state, and your inner command center. And it must be treated as sacred ground, untouched by the world, untouched by noise, untouched by anyone else's agenda. If the world owns your first hour, it owns your mind. But if you own your first hour, you own the day. That's the key. It's not about how early you wake up. It's about what you do once you're awake. It's not about productivity hacks. It's about psychological sovereignty. You don't need to copy someone else's morning routine. You need to claim your own. The ritual of control, your first hour, is your daily declaration of control. And like any ritual, it must be deliberate, repeatable, and non-negotiable. Here's how you build it. Silence. Start your day in stillness. No talking, no music, no phone. Let your brain breathe before the world. Invade, sit, breathe, be. You'll Notice how loud your mind really is, and how powerful silence can be too. Hydration. You've been asleep for 6 to 8 hours. Your body is dehydrated, your cells are sluggish, your focus is dull, water is fuel. The first act of discipline is replenishing your system. Drink, don't. Scroll. Part 3. Journaling. Write before you consume. Get your thoughts out of your head and onto paper. Clarity isn't found. It's written. Ask yourself, what do I need to conquer today? What's one thing I will not tolerate? What's one thing I will execute no matter what? This is how you set your compass before the storm begins. Reading or listening. Feed your mind something that elevates your thinking. A chapter of a book. A passage of philosophy. A few pages that challenge you to think bigger. Not entertainment. Not gossip. Wisdom. These are the pillars of a sacred first hour. Silence, hydration, reflection, elevation. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent, because consistency builds control, and control builds character. The cost of compromise. Let's be brutally honest. Most people will never guard their first hour. They'll hear this. Nod and go right back to scrolling. Why? Because chaos feels familiar. Comfort isn't just found in the bed. It's found in the noise. The constant stimulation of notifications and content gives you the illusion of connection. But it's not connection. It's consumption, and consumption without intention kills clarity. If the world owns your first hour, it owns your mind. When you give that first hour away, you don't just lose time, you lose authority. You start your day following instead of leading, and once you start following, it's hard to stop. Your mind becomes a mirror of the chaos you consume. You become reactive, anxious, and scattered. And all of it traces back to that single moment. The moment you let the world in before you built your own defense. That's why this hour is sacred, because it's not just about mourning, it's about mastery. You have a choice every morning. The world will knock. Your phone will light up. Your mind will crave distraction. And in that moment, you have a choice. To let the world in first, or to let yourself in first. To build clarity, or to borrow chaos. To lead your mind, or let your mind lead you. If the world owns your first hour, it owns your mind. But if you own your first hour, you begin to reclaim your life. That's the power of the first hour. It's the first decision that defines all others. So make it non-negotiable. Turn it into ritual. Build it into your identity, because you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your rituals. And your rituals begin when the rest of the world is still asleep, the sacred. Contract, here's your assignment. Starting tomorrow, write this rule down on paper. For the first 60 minutes of my day, I am unreachable. That's your contract. That's your boundary. That's how you protect your power. No phone, no email, no notifications, no noise. This is your time to build clarity, direction, and command. You're not isolating yourself, you're fortifying yourself. When you guard that hour, everything else flows with more focus, more peace, more precision. Because discipline creates calm, and calm creates control. If the world owns your first hour, it owns your mind. But if you guard it, like sacred ground, the world will start reacting to you. That's how leaders think. That's how creators move. That's how warriors build unbreakable focus. You don't need their permission. You don't need their validation. You need control and over yourself, over your attention, over your first hour. That's the key. And once you hold it, nothing can take it from you. You've now mastered Control of your morning. From the moment you rise to the first sacred hour, you protect. That's the foundation of self-command. But the next step is how you build momentum out of that control. Because clarity without movement is just theory. You've learned to guard your peace. Now it's time to generate your power. Chapter 4. Move your body, master your mind. The mind follows the body. That's the truth most people ignore. You think you need to feel motivated to move. But that's backward. You move first. The mind catches up later, because motion creates emotion. Energy isn't something you wait for. It's something you generate. The body obeys motion. The mind obeys momentum. That's the key. You want clarity? Move. You want confidence? Move. You want control? Move. It's not about becoming a fitness model. It's about becoming mentally unbreakable. You move your body to remind your mind who's in charge. The science of movement and mastery. Your brain doesn't wake up fully formed in the morning. It needs oxygen. It needs circulation. It needs activation. When you move, even just a few minutes of stretching, walking, or push-ups, your brain floods with dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. These chemicals tell your nervous system, we're alive. We're in control. We're ready. That's not motivation. That's chemistry. You're literally rewiring your brain for focus and strength. But when you skip that movement, when you go straight from bed to screen, you stay stuck in fog. You stay reactive. You stay tired. You're waiting for energy instead of creating it. The body obeys motion. The mind obeys momentum. You must understand this law. It's not about fitness. It's about command. When you move your body, you activate your willpower. You send a signal to your brain that says, we don't negotiate with comfort. That's the signal of a warrior. That's the first act of dominance over your day. Discipline in movement builds. Discipline in thought. You can't think your way into confidence. You can only act your way into it. Every push-up, every step, every rep, it's a vote for the person you want to become. Discipline is not an abstract concept. It's a physical experience. When your muscles burn, when your lungs stretch, when your body resists, that's where discipline is built. Because the body is teaching the mind a simple truth. We do what needs to be done, even when it's hard. You're training more than muscles. You're training identity, and identity is what dictates behavior. If you move like a leader, you think like a leader. If you move with purpose, you think with purpose. If you move when it's uncomfortable, you learn to think clearly when life is uncomfortable. That's the key. It's not about the workout. It's about the wiring. You don't need their permission to move. You don't need a perfect gym, or the right playlist, or the best gear. You need commitment, because every time you move your body, you reinforce this one law. The body obeys motion. The mind obeys momentum. Morning movement. The ritual of power. This isn't about lifting heavy weights or chasing numbers. It's about building your mental armor before the world attacks. Here's how to build your morning movement ritual. Step 1. Make it immediate. The moment you finish your first hour ritual, move. Don't wait. Don't plan. Don't overthink. Action kills hesitation. Step 2. Keep it simple. You don't need an hour. You need 5 to 15 minutes of deliberate movement, body weight exercises. A brisk walk, jump rope, yoga. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It matters that it's done. Step 3. Focus on intensity, not duration. The point isn't to exhaust your body. It's to awaken your mind. Go hard for short bursts. Feel your heart pounding. Feel your blood move. That's your system rebooting. Step 4. Anchor it with a command. Every time you begin, say this: I move my body. I command my mind. Words program the nervous system. Say it until it becomes instinct. That's your ritual. Simple, direct, powerful. You don't need more motivation. You need more movement, because motion creates emotion, and emotion fuels execution. The cost of stillness. Let's talk about what happens when you don't move. Stillness. In the body breeds stillness in the mind. Body that sits too long becomes a mind that hesitates too long. That's the trap. You think you're resting, but you're really rusting. Inactivity kills clarity. It dulls your instincts. It weakens your resolve. The human body was built for movement, for challenge, for resistance. When you avoid that, you're not saving energy. You're draining it. That's why people feel anxious and sluggish even after sleeping 8 hours. Their bodies are stagnant. Their energy is trapped. Their mind is choking on stillness. The solution isn't another cup of coffee. It's motion, because the body obeys motion. The mind obeys momentum. You move first. The rest follows. You have a choice every morning. You face a crossroads. Move or stagnate. Create momentum or lose it. Rise or retreat. You have a choice. When you move, you're not just exercising. You're declaring war on hesitation. You're reminding your mind that comfort will not control you. You're telling your body, we move because we can, not because we feel like it. That's the voice of discipline. That's the voice that wins. Stop. Waiting to feel ready. You'll never feel ready. Move. Anyway, because movement creates readiness. The body obeys motion. The mind obeys momentum. Say it. Again, engrave it into your mindset. Your morning movement is not optional. It's foundational. It's how you turn a sluggish start into a strategic advantage. It's how you transform fatigue into fire. The warriors. Walk. Here's something simple and powerful. Take a 5-minute walk after your morning ritual. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just walk, breathe, observe. Let your body set the rhythm of your thoughts. You'll notice something incredible. Ideas begin to flow. Decisions become clearer. Your energy begins to climb. That's not coincidence. That's biology responding to momentum. You're aligning your physiology with purpose. The warrior doesn't wait for the world to wake him up. He wakes himself up through motion. That's the difference between the average and the exceptional. The average waits to feel like it. The exceptional acts until they feel like it. The body obeys motion. The mind obeys momentum. And momentum is built by choice. The commandment of movement. Here's your new rule. I move before I think. That's your commandment. Because thinking before acting is what keeps people stuck. They overanalyze. They hesitate. They kill their own drive. But when you move first, you activate your inner commander. You tell your brain, we're already in motion. Catch up. That's how warriors operate. That's how leaders build consistency. That's how greatness begins, not in thought but in movement. You don't need perfect conditions. You need perfect commitment. You don't need motivation. You need momentum, because motion creates emotion, and the body obeys motion. The mind obeys momentum. You've now learned how to command your energy, not wait for it. You've claimed control over your physiology and turned it into a weapon for focus and power. That's mastery of the morning. First the wake up, then the silence, then the movement. You're no longer reacting. You're creating, but the next step is how you direct that power, how you turn energy into execution. Because energy without direction is just noise. You've built your momentum. Now you must channel it into precision. Chapter 5. Write your orders for the day. You are your own commander. And every morning before the world invades your peace, you must issue your orders. No army wins without direction. No soldier fights without a mission. And yet, most people wake up and drift. They check their phone. They scroll. They react. They let the day dictate their moves instead of dictating the day. You can't drift your way into discipline. You can't stumble your way into success. You must command your actions, because a day without orders is a day surrendered. The drift versus the directive every day. Two versions of you wake up. One is the commander, focused, clear, ready to execute. The other is the civilian, distracted, reactive, guided by impulse and convenience. Whichever version gives the orders in the morning will run the show all day. If the civilian takes over, your attention is gone before 9 a.m. You'll be chasing fires, reacting to problems, trying to catch up. But if the commander steps forward, the day bends to your will, because clarity creates control, and control builds confidence. That's the key. You can't lead yourself if you don't give yourself direction. You have a choice every morning to drift or to direct, to react or to command, to surrender your time or to seize it. A day without orders is a day surrendered. The power of written orders. Let's be real. Your brain is not designed to remember everything. It's designed to solve what's in front of it. So when you don't give it clear commands, it chases everything. That's why you end up scattered, anxious, and burned out. You're running without a map. You're fighting without a mission. Writing your orders is not a motivational exercise. It's a tactical operation. When you put pen to paper, you turn chaos into command. Writing forces clarity. Clarity drives execution. Execution builds identity. You're not journaling feelings. You're declaring intent. Each morning, you pick up the pen like a weapon, and you write your battle plan. Because without orders, the day owns you. A day without orders is a day surrendered. The 3-target protocol. You don't need a 20-item to-do list. You need precision. You need direction. You need 3 targets. Clear, measurable, non-negotiable. Here's how you do it. Step 1. Define the mission. Ask yourself, what are the 3 outcomes that, if completed, would make today a victory? Not busy work, not filler. Results. Maybe it's closing a deal, finishing a workout, or writing a chapter. Pick 3. No more. Step 2. Assign time blocks. Don't just list them. Schedule them. Your calendar is your battlefield. Mark the hours where those targets get your full attention. No multitasking. No interruptions. Step 3. Rank the targets. There's always a primary mission. Identify it. Circle it. If the day collapses, that's the one you must win. That's structure. That's discipline. That's how professionals move. A day without orders is a day surrendered. But a day with 3 clear targets? That's a day commanded. The pen is a weapon, understand this. Writing is not passive. It's power. When you write your goals, you're programming your subconscious. You're telling your brain, this is what matters. And your mind will align your focus, your energy, and your decisions to fulfill that order. That's how the brain works. It follows written direction like a soldier follows command. Your phone won't do this. Your reminders app won't do this, because typing doesn't carry the same power as writing. Writing is physical. It's primal. It's ritual. The pen is your weapon. Every stroke is an order issued to your future self. You're not planning, you're programming. You're not dreaming, you're dictating. That's the difference between wishful thinking and tactical execution. And that's what separates the disciplined from the distracted. A day without orders is a day surrendered. The discipline of completion writing. The orders is step 1, executing. Them is step 2. You don't stop once you've written them. You report back to them. You hold yourself accountable. You treat your word like a contract. That's where most people fail. They write plans but never return to them. They confuse intention for action. But discipline is about finishing what you start. It's about reporting back to your own authority. At the end of the day, look at your list and ask, did I execute my mission? Or did I surrender my time? If you won, and document it. Feel that momentum. If you lost, analyze it. Find the weakness. Strengthen the system, because failure isn't the enemy. Drift is. You can recover from a bad day. You can't recover from a directionless life. That's the key. Execution over excuses. Command over confusion. A day without orders is a day surrendered. You have a choice. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, you'll face the same decision every warrior faces. Will I issue my orders, or will I let the world issue them for me? The world has plans for your time, endless distractions, endless noise, endless demands. If you don't write your own orders, you'll end up following someone else's, your boss, your phone, your habits, your fears. Every one of them will give you a mission that isn't yours. So write your own, even if it's small, even if it's simple, because the act of writing is the act of reclaiming control. You have a choice. You can drift through another day, hoping to get things done, or you can command your day like the disciplined soldier you're becoming. The difference is the pen. The difference is the list. The difference is the act of command. A day without orders is a day surrendered, and you've surrendered enough. Command the day before. It commands you. Here's the truth. Life will never slow down for you. The chaos will never stop. The world will always demand your attention. But discipline isn't about controlling the world. It's about controlling yourself in the world. Your written orders are your defense. They are the wall between you and distraction. They are your proof that you are not drifting anymore. When you write your orders, you're declaring, this is my direction. This is my day. This is my command. That's power. That's clarity. That's leadership of self. And that's the foundation of a life that moves with purpose, not panic. So tomorrow morning, before the noise, before the notifications, before the world, pick up your weapon, write your orders, and execute them with precision. Because a day without orders is a day surrendered, and a day commanded is a life reclaimed. You've now built your foundation. From how you rise to how you move, to how you direct your focus. Your mornings are no longer random. They're intentional, but now comes the test of strength, how to protect your command when distraction strikes, because it will. The world will fight to break your focus. You've learned to issue orders, now you'll learn to enforce them. Chapter 6. Silence the digital noise. The phone is a thief. It steals your time. It steals your focus. It steals your command. You wake up, and before your feet touch the floor, you've already surrendered, not to the day, not to the mission, but to the screen. The average person loses their morning before 7 a.m. Not because they're lazy, but because they've handed over control to notifications, messages, headlines, and noise. They start their day reacting instead of commanding. They start by consuming instead of creating. You can't command your life while obeying your notifications. The illusion of connection. You think you're checking in. You think you're staying updated. You tell yourself, it's just a minute. But that minute turns into 30. That scroll turns into distraction. That small check becomes a full surrender of your mind's clarity. Your phone is not neutral. It's designed to hijack your attention. Every ping, every alert, every new post. They're hooks. Hooks that pull your focus away from your purpose. And once your attention is divided, your command is gone. You can't lead yourself while your mind is being led by algorithms. You can't build your vision while you're chasing validation. You can't think deeply when you're reacting instantly. That's the key. The enemy isn't the phone. The enemy is obedience to it. You have a choice to be the commander of your attention or the follower of your impulses. You can't command your life while obeying your notifications. The morning theft. The most valuable part of your day is the first hour. That's when your mind is quiet. That's when your energy is pure. That's when you are closest to clarity. But most people hand that hour to the digital world. They open their phone before their eyes even adjust to the light. They see emails, opinions, problems, alerts. And instantly, their peace is gone. You can't build focus on borrowed noise. You can't create calm on a foundation of chaos. The morning is supposed to feed your purpose, not your dopamine. It's supposed to sharpen your command, not scatter your energy. You wake up to lead the day, not to scroll through someone else's. A mind that starts in reaction will end in exhaustion. A mind that starts in silence will end in strength. You can't command your life while obeying your notifications. Replace. Input with intention. Here's the truth. Your brain is a battlefield. Every sound, every message, every piece of content, it's fighting for territory in your attention. And every time you let the phone win, you lose a little bit of command. You can't fill your mind with noise and expect clarity to survive. You can't start your morning in chaos and expect peace to last. The fix is simple, but not easy. You replace input with intention. Here's what that means. Before you pick up your phone, pick up your plan. Before you check your messages, check your mission. Before you consume, create. That's the new order. If your morning ritual feeds your purpose, you'll grow stronger. If it feeds your dopamine, you'll grow weaker. Every scroll is a surrender. Every ping is a pull away from your command post. And every moment you spend in reaction is a moment stolen from your mission. You have a choice: to obey your notifications or to enforce your discipline. You can't command your life while obeying your notifications. Build a fortress of focused discipline isn't about rejecting the phone. It's about mastering it. You control when it speaks. You control what it's allowed to say. You don't need to throw it away. You need to tame it. Here's how airplane mode mornings. When you wake up, your phone stays silent for the first 60 minutes. No messages, no updates, no news. That hour belongs to you, your orders, your breath, your focus. No notifications. Turn off every alert that isn't life or death. If it doesn't move your mission forward, it doesn't need your attention. You check it when you choose, not when it demands. One input window. Designate one time block during the day to check messages, emails, or updates. Outside of that block, your attention is sacred ground. This isn't about being disconnected from the world. It's about being connected to yourself. Because when everything is fighting for your attention, silence becomes a weapon. Silence is not weakness. Silence is command. Silence is strength. You can't command your life while obeying your notifications. The addiction to dopamine. Understand this. Your phone gives you nothing for free. Every burst of dopamine comes with a cost. Every hit of stimulation drains your discipline. You're training your brain to crave the small win instead of the real one. You scroll for comfort, but what you lose is control. You're not tired. You're overstimulated. You're not unmotivated. You're unfocused. You're not out of time. You've just given it away. That's the truth. Your phone doesn't just waste your minutes. It weakens your mind. It's not about self-control. It's about self-respect. If you respect your mission, you protect your focus. If you protect your focus, you protect your command. You can't command your life while obeying your notifications. The ritual of silence. Replace the noise with stillness. Replace reaction with reflection. When you wake up, sit in silence for 5 minutes. No sound, no screen, just you and your breath. That's not empty time. That's loading time. Silence is how you prime your mind for war. It's how you center yourself before you move into chaos. It's how you hear the voice of your own command. In silence, you find direction. In silence, you remember who's in charge. Because when the world is loud, the disciplined become invisible, quietly working, quietly winning. You don't need to announce your focus. You just need to enforce it. That's the key. You lead from silence. You can't command your life while obeying your notifications. You have a choice. You can wake up tomorrow and repeat the cycle. Scroll, react, consume, surrender. Or you can choose differently. You can wake up and guard your peace like it's gold. You can choose silence over noise, presence over distraction, command over chaos. You don't need their permission to unplug. You don't need the world's validation to stay off the grid. You just need discipline. It's not about rejecting technology. It's about reclaiming your mind. You have a choice. To be a product of distraction or a master of direction. You can't have both, because you can't command your life while obeying your notifications. Your phone can serve your mission or sabotage it. Your silence can strengthen your command, or you can let the noise destroy it. The decision is yours. The discipline is yours. The command is yours. A life of clarity starts with a morning of silence. You've silenced the noise. You've reclaimed your focus. Now it's time to forge consistency, the real fuel of mastery, because focus without repetition fades, and control without consistency collapses. You've learned to command your attention. Now you'll learn to sustain that command. Chapter 7. Feed the mind before the world feeds. Your mind wakes up hungry. Every morning. Before you speak a word, before you check your phone, before you step into the noise, your mind demands fuel. But here's the mistake most people make. They feed it garbage. They feed it chaos. They feed it fear. They wake up and scroll. They wake up and react. They wake up and consume whatever the world throws at them. Headlines, opinions, complaints, noise. And then they wonder why they feel anxious, why they can't focus, why their days feel heavy and out of control. It's simple. You get out what you put in. Weak input creates weak thinking. Strong input creates strong command. Feed your mind first, because the world will feed you chaos. Later, the morning diet for the mind. Your mind is like a soldier before battle. What you feed it determines how it performs. If you fill it with junk, it will collapse under pressure. If you feed it truth, it will stand firm when the storm hits. You can't expect to be calm, focused, and strong when you've spent your first hour consuming anxiety. You can't expect peace when you start your day with conflict. You can't expect clarity when you start with noise. You have a choice. to feed your mind, with wisdom or with weakness. Every morning, you choose your fuel, you choose your input, you choose your mental diet. That's the key. You can't build a strong life on weak thoughts. Feed your mind first. Because the world will feed you chaos later. Truth is fuel. Noise is poison. When you open your eyes, your mind is pure. It's quiet. It's open. It's ready to receive. That's when it's most vulnerable. If you let the world rush in first, with fear, gossip, or distraction, you contaminate your clarity before the day even begins. That's like pouring dirt into a glass of clean water. No matter what you add later, the water is already polluted. You have to protect that first input. You have to guard that window of silence and direct what enters your mind, because what enters stays. It sets your emotional temperature for the day. Read something that builds. You listen to something that elevates you. Reflect on something that grounds you. That's how you build emotional armor. That's how you train your mind to stay disciplined when the world turns chaotic. Feed your mind first, because the world will feed you chaos later. The law of mental momentum. Here's what neuroscience proves. Your brain runs on momentum. The first thoughts you entertain in the morning determine the direction of your day. If the first thing you consume is negativity, your brain looks for more of it. If the first thing you consume is strength, your brain amplifies that strength. You set the mental tone, consciously or by default. So ask yourself, who's in charge of your first thoughts? You or the algorithm? You or the news cycle? You or the chaos of the world? You can't command your day if your thoughts are borrowed. You can't think clearly when your mind is already hijacked. You must take control of what you feed your brain, especially in the first hour. Feed it principles, not panic. Feed it purpose, not gossip. Feed it truth, not trends. That's how you create mental momentum. That's how you build inner command. Feed your mind first, because the world will feed you chaos later. What to feed the mind? You don't need an expensive routine. You need a disciplined one. Here's what mental nutrition looks like in practice. Read a page of truth, not fiction. Not drama. Truth. Something that feeds your principles. It can be philosophy, scripture, stoic writings, or a passage that reminds you who you are and what matters. You're not reading for entertainment. You're reading for calibration. Listen to strength. Play something that aligns your thoughts. An audiobook, a guided reflection, a powerful speech. It doesn't need to be long. 10 minutes of clarity beats an hour of noise. Reflect in silence. Sit. Think. Process. Let the words sink in. Let your mind digest what you've consumed. Don't rush to fill the silence. Let it do its work. This is how you build a mind that obeys you, not the world, not the phone, not the pressure. You have to train your brain to take orders from your higher self. And that starts with what you feed. Feed your mind first, because the world will feed you chaos later. Mental nutrition builds. Emotional stability. People think emotions come from nowhere. They don't. They come from thoughts. And thoughts come from input. Garbage in, garbage out. Peace in, peace out. If your mornings are full of noise, your emotions will follow that chaos. If your mornings are rooted in truth, your emotions will mirror that calm. That's not philosophy, that's chemistry. Your input determines your state. Your thoughts release hormones. Your beliefs trigger energy. Your focus shapes your body's response. So when you feed your mind anxiety, you're literally building stress into your bloodstream. When you feed your mind strength, you're programming resilience into your body. That's why this discipline matters. It's not just about mindset. It's about command physiology. You can't control the world, but you can control what you allow into your head, and that control gives you freedom. Feed your mind first, because the world will feed you chaos later. The discipline of direction every morning. You must decide what direction your mind will take. You're either intentional or you're influenced. That's the truth. You don't need their permission to think for yourself. You don't need the world's approval to go silent. You just need discipline. Discipline to choose wisdom over distraction. Discipline to seek truth over trends. Discipline to feed your focus instead of your fears. It's not about talent. It's not about intelligence. It's about what you feed daily. The mind becomes what it consumes. Feed it garbage and it becomes chaotic. Feed it gold. It becomes powerful. Feed your mind first, because the world will feed you chaos later. The real world test. You'll notice something when you practice this. When you feed your mind truth before the noise, you don't just start your day stronger. You stay stronger. The world will still test you. Traffic, arguments, setbacks, pressure, they'll all come, but your mind will respond differently. You won't react, you'll command. You won't panic, you'll pause. You won't collapse, you'll control. That's the difference between being mentally fed and mentally starved. Because when the chaos comes, the untrained mind crumbles. The disciplined mind stands tall. Feed your mind first, because the world will feed you chaos later. You have a choice. You can wake up tomorrow and let the world fill you with noise, or you can fill yourself with truth. You can choose reaction, or you can choose reflection. You can choose chaos, or you can choose command. The choice is yours. The discipline is yours. The peace is yours. Because mental strength doesn't start at noon. It starts at dawn, and every morning the battle begins with what you feed your mind. Feed it truth. Feed it clarity. Feed it purpose. That's how you lead yourself. That's how you build an unshakable inner world. Feed your mind first, because the world will feed you chaos later. You've learned to guard your input. Now, it's time to sharpen your output, because the next step of morning mastery is creation, not consumption. You've fed your mind. Now you'll forge your momentum. Before action comes awareness. Before movement comes command. Before progress comes peace. Most people start their day by running. They rush. They scroll. They chase. They wake up already drowning in noise, believing speed equals success. But speed without direction is chaos. Motion without awareness is wasted energy. You don't need more speed. You need more stillness. Stillness isn't laziness. Stillness isn't passivity. Stillness is control. The calm mind commands the storm. The power of pause every morning. The world demands something from you. Messages, responsibilities, pressure. But before you give, you must gather before you respond. You must reclaim. That's the essence of stillness, and it's the act of reclaiming your command before the world takes it. You don't sit in silence because you have nothing to do. You sit in silence because you have too much to do, and you need to do it right. A still mind sees clearly. A racing mind reacts blindly. You can't lead yourself from a state of chaos. You can't make clear decisions when your thoughts are colliding. Stillness is where strategy is born. It's where clarity takes shape. It's where your power consolidates. That's the key. Before you act, you must align. The calm mind commands the storm. Stillness is not emptiness. People misunderstand stillness. They think it means doing nothing, but it's not about stopping. It's about centering. Stillness is not an empty mind. It's a disciplined mind. It's a mind that chooses what to focus on. instead of being dragged by everything. When you sit in stillness, you're not escaping the world. You're preparing to dominate it. It's the difference between reacting and commanding. It's the difference between a soldier who panics and one who breathes, aims and strikes with precision. You can't fight chaos with chaos. You fight chaos with clarity, and clarity lives in stillness. You have a choice: to rush into the day like everyone else, or to pause, breathe, and take command. The calm mind commands the storm. The physiology of stillness. This isn't just philosophy, it's biology. When you wake up, your nervous system is on alert. Your cortisol levels rise, preparing your body for motion. But if you go straight into the digital noise, you multiply that stress. You trigger panic before purpose. Stillness reverses that. Deep breathing, meditation or prayer, they all activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the body's command center for calm. When your breath slows, your thoughts slow. When your heart rate stabilizes, your focus strengthens. When your body is still, your mind becomes sharp. You can't make powerful moves from a panicked state. You can only do that from command, and command requires calm. You don't need more motivation. You need more regulation. You don't need more noise. You need more control. That's the key. Control is born from calm. The calm mind commands the storm. The morning practice of stillness. Stillness is not complicated. It's consistent. You don't need incense, music, or perfect posture. You need discipline. Here's how you build it. Sit in silence for 5 to 10 minutes. No phone. No talking. Just sit. Breathe in through your nose. Exhale slowly. Don't chase your thoughts. Observe them. Let them pass. Anchor your attention. Focus on your breath, your heartbeat, or a single phrase like, "I am in control." Every time your mind drifts, bring it back. That's how discipline is forged. Add reflection. Ask yourself one question. What matters most today? Let your answer come slowly. Don't force it. Clarity emerges when the noise fades. This isn't about spirituality. It's about strategy. Stillness is mental sharpening. It's emotional armor. It's self-command training. You can't lead your day from reaction. You must lead it from reflection. That's why the great leaders, the warriors, the thinkers, they all practiced stillness. Marcus Aurelius, Mandela, Navy SEALs. They all knew action without awareness is blind. The calm mind commands the storm. Stillness creates strength. Most people think discipline means pushing harder, but real discipline is knowing when not to push. It's the ability to pause, even when everything around you screams. Move. That's mastery. When you master stillness, you stop being ruled by urgency. You stop mistaking movement for progress. You start acting with precision, not panic. Stillness is where emotional control is built. It's where you learn not to react to every trigger. It's where you learn to respond with purpose. When someone criticizes you, stillness keeps you from lashing out. When stress hits, stillness keeps you from collapsing. When life feels heavy, stillness keeps you centered. That's the difference between the ordinary and the disciplined. One reacts, the other commands. You don't need the world to slow down. You need to slow yourself down. Because when your inner world is calm, the outer world loses its power. The calm mind commands the storm. You don't need more speed. The world glorifies speed, hustle, grind, always moving, always chasing. But ask yourself, are you moving with direction, or are you just moving to feel busy? Are you executing a plan or escaping from silence? You can't outwork chaos. You can only outcommand it, and command doesn't come from motion. It comes from mastery. Every storm looks smaller when seen from a place of calm. Every obstacle looks solvable when viewed. Through clarity, every decision becomes easier. When your emotions are steady, stillness doesn't slow you down. It makes every move count. That's the paradox. You go faster by first going still. The calm mind commands the storm. Stillness is a daily reset, no matter how strong you are. Your mind collects noise throughout the day. Stress, pressure, opinions, doubt. Stillness clears it. It resets your system. Think of it as mental hygiene. You wouldn't leave your body unwashed. Don't leave your mind uncleaned. A few minutes of stillness can recenter an entire day. A few breaths can reset your emotional chemistry. A single pause can prevent a bad reaction. Stillness is not a luxury. It's a necessity. If you don't schedule stillness, chaos will schedule itself for you. You have a choice: to live in reaction or to live in control, to live in noise or to live in command. The calm mind commands the storm. You have a choice. You can wake up tomorrow and dive straight into the noise. You can start your day in panic, hurry and reaction like everyone else, or you can stop, sit, breathe, command. Stillness is not about doing less. It's about being more aware, more centered, more intentional. You don't need the world's permission to slow down. You don't need anyone's approval to breathe. You just need discipline, because it's not about speed. It's about stillness. It's not about chaos. It's about control. It's not about the storm. It's about the calm within it. The calm mind commands the storm. You've learned to command your mornings with silence, clarity, and stillness. Now, it's time to fortify your energy, to fuel your discipline with purpose-driven power, because command requires energy, and energy, like focus, must be protected and directed. You've mastered the pause. Now, let's master the fire. Chapter 9. Momentum is built, not found. Everyone wants momentum. Few are willing to build it. They wait for inspiration. They wait for motivation. They wait for that perfect morning to feel ready. But here's the truth. Momentum isn't found. Momentum is built brick by brick, day by day. There's no spark waiting for you, no magic morning coming to save you. You don't stumble into discipline. You construct it. That's the key. Momentum doesn't come from intensity. It comes from consistency. One great morning means nothing. Anyone can have a good day. Anyone can wake up early once, push hard once, meditate once. But that's not mastery. That's a moment. A single day of discipline means nothing if it's not followed by another. Momentum isn't born in one burst. It's forged through repetition. You don't change by what you do once. You change by what you do every day. That's why the difference between amateurs and masters isn't talent, it's rhythm. It's routine. It's showing up, especially when it's boring. You have a choice. You can chase excitement, or you can build consistency. One burns fast. The other builds forever. What you repeat, you become. The 90-day rule change doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen overnights. 90 of them. 90. Days of showing up rewires your brain. 90. Days of repetition reshapes your identity. 90 days of small. Daily discipline turns effort into instinct. That's the truth about momentum. It doesn't ask for speed. It asks for streaks. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to do it consistently. Miss a day? Fine. Don't miss two. When you commit to 90 days of discipline, you stop relying on motivation. You start running on momentum. You're no longer asking, do I feel like it? You're saying, this is who I am now. because that's how identity changes, not in a moment, but through momentum. What you repeat, you become. Consistency. Over intensity. Everyone wants to sprint. Few can endure the walk. But real transformation doesn't come from one massive push. It comes from thousands of small, unexciting repetitions. You don't need to climb the whole mountain today. You just need to take one more step, and take it every day. You don't build power through passion alone. You build it through patience. You don't need more fire. You need more fuel. You don't need a new plan. You need the same plan, done longer. It's not about how hard you go, it's about how long you last. That's the difference between those who rise and those who burn out. Intensity gets attention, consistency gets results. You have a choice: chase bursts or build habits. One fades, the other compounds. What you repeat, you become. Track, review, recommit. If you want momentum, you must measure it. What gets tracked grows. Every morning, every task, every ritual, record it, not for perfection, for awareness. Did you wake up when you said you would? Did you move your body? Did you feed your mind before the world fed you chaos? Did you sit in stillness before you entered the storm? This is how you keep score, not against others, but against your past self. Every check mark on your tracker is a vote for who you're becoming. Every review is a recalibration of your standards. Don't drift through your days. Review them. Refine them. Recommit to them. Momentum is a living thing. It must be fed. The moment you stop reviewing your progress, you start repeating your past. The moment you stop measuring, you start losing focus. That's the key. Awareness sustains discipline. Track, review, recommit. Every day, every week, every month. Because what you repeat, you become. Identity rewiring. Momentum isn't just external. It's internal. It's psychological. Every act of discipline sends a signal to your subconscious. This is who I am now. Wake up early. That's one signal. Train your body. Another signal. Practice stillness. Another. Feed your mind. Another. One act might not mean much alone, but together repeated, they reprogram your identity. You start to see yourself differently, not as someone trying to be disciplined, but as someone who is disciplined. That's identity momentum. And once it builds, it doesn't stop easily. You don't fall back into your old habits because they no longer fit the person you've become. It's not willpower anymore. It's alignment. You're no longer fighting to act a certain way. You're acting in harmony with who you are. That's how you transform. That's how you stay consistent long after the excitement fades. What you repeat, you become. The myth of motivation: stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for motivation to appear. Motivation is fragile. Momentum is faithful. Motivation fades when life gets messy. Momentum endures because it's built on discipline, not emotion. You don't need to feel inspired to do the work. You just need to do the work until it becomes who you are. When you stop needing motivation, you win, because then your habits run your life, not your moods. That's mastery. That's freedom. It's not about emotion. It's about execution. It's not about hype. It's about habit. It's not about what you want. It's about what you repeat. Because what you repeat, you become. The discipline. Loop momentum builds through a simple loop. Action, feedback, adjustment, repetition, act, even when you don't feel like it. Observe what worked, what didn't, adjust, refine your process, repeat with focus. That loop compounds daily. One disciplined day strengthens the next. One refined system makes the next easier. Before long, it's no longer effort, it's instinct. You've built momentum so strong, it carries you even when motivation is gone. That's the power of accumulated discipline. That's how ordinary people create extraordinary change. You don't find it. You build it. You don't stumble into it. You construct it. You don't wait for it. You earn it, because what you repeat, you become real-world application. If you want to build momentum, do 3 things. Commit to a streak. Pick one non-negotiable action for the next 30, 60 or 90 days. It can be waking up early, reading for 10 minutes, or training daily. Don't break the chain. Every link strengthens your momentum. Track publicly or privately. Use a journal, whiteboard, or app. Visibility creates accountability. It turns a wish into a contract. Recommit every Sunday. Review your wins and failures. Don't judge, adjust. That weekly reflection resets your focus. Momentum is not magic, it's math. Small efforts multiplied by time equal unstoppable force. The transformation, every great performer, leader, or creator you admire, they didn't find momentum, they built it. They started small, they repeated, they stayed consistent. And through that repetition, they became the person they once admired. That's the secret. That's the discipline. Momentum is not given. Momentum is built. You have a choice. Wait for it, or create it. You already know what to do. Now do it again tomorrow, because the pattern you live becomes the person you are, and what you repeat, you become. You've built momentum. You've rewritten your identity, but momentum must be protected, not just through action, but through boundaries. Because distraction kills more progress than failure ever could. You've built your fire. Now it's time to guard it.